Yeah, immigration news. For starters, UK universities are
Please, let's stop talking
experiencing.
about these guys.
They have been experiencing it.
No,
They never see anything. They
so
go feel it.
right now, one in three universities in the UK are facing financial
They will
difficulties.
feel
You know, go feel up.
They go feel them.
But do you guys actually think that this will make them ease in their
Nope.
I
They
don't
have a lot of
care.
money. They made a lot of money
I
for
don't
now.
care. They've already made their
They made a lot
policy.
of money
The
for
policy
now.
is
It
working
will
for
change it a
them.
bit. But they made a lot of money.
I feel like with the new party though, I think like something will change.
No, it won't change.
Something
for
will
now.
change, but
I
it
don't
won't
know.
be in immigration
Trust me.
direction.
No, no.
Welcome to another exciting episode of your Japachronicles. I'm your humble host.
Football is back.
Thank
you, Lord.
Football back. Olympics was.
Premier
Small
League.
Olympic. Olympics that even did not qualify
We
for.
lost yesterday, by the way.
Who is we?
Nigerian women, no. I know.
Oh yeah, Spain to us.
I know you say who is we. Who is we?
But I'm not really feeling. I'm feeling like you're an oppressed Nigerian right now. I'm going through a lot, so I'm not really following your stuff. I'm rooting for Tobi Amusan, right? And I think there's one
Yeah,
that
I
plays
think
that
she got gold for
the last World Cup,
yeah.
the last World Championship. So when we get to our own
I think,
athletics,
funny enough, my two countries are struggling with women's soccer. So Canada got the deduction, and Nigeria now is also losing. So
my two
I'm
countries.
going through it. I'm going through it as well.
Maximum flex.
No, let's talk about this. I mean,
We don't even need to judge. You guys already know him from part one.
Yeah, he was here. I think 2 episodes ago.
yeah.
And he's back again
So finish the story.
to finish the
Make
story.
person they cry for podcast. Anyway,
Yeah, let's do it.
football is back. I'm glad. Chelsea's playing rubbish, but I'm God.
My
It's been a boring
my new
4
buy
weeks.
my new buy is injured.
How do you buy? What do you would? You bought Mount, he was injured.
Oh,
You
United.
bought Amrabat injured.
No, you gave
Hojland
us
injured.
an injured player.
No.
I didn't buy Mount.
I ripped you of 60 million. I'm not even hiding
It's
it.
fine.
Now
What are you using the money for?
I bought
Zero
Cole
trophies.
Palmer.
Jesus Christ.
Yori is injured.
Yeah, he's injured.
Jesus is
But
Lord.
it
You can't
happens.
make this
I
thing
mean,
It
up.
happens to the best of us.
You can't make.
okay.
Yeah, it happens to the best.
Have you heard the boys training with Ateta? Ateta
What
saying
happened?
win league 114 points.
That
They
was
use
insane.
Trump.
I mean,
Well, you know the thing, it's possible if you actually dip it because
Did you see how they finished that season?
Come on.
I'm not a betting guy.
Come on.
Arsenal is not in top 3 this season.
they will
Book
finish
it.
first or
Book
second
it.
I
again.
don't know about that. I think that's
Yeah, that's not
All
fun
right,
now.
book it.
I used to be.
It used to be.
But you see, I
Book.
grew up.
Bro.
And I learned.
I remember.
We don't
Book
do that
it.
anymore.
If they win the league, we celebrate.
I will not. I'm not interested.
No,
I
you
only
will.
support clubs that either fund me
something?
or are close by me. That's it.
Like what?
I'm a man
Toronto
of principle.
FC.
Yeah, Toronto
Or
FC is close.
Atlanta
At least was
Braves.
close by. Was close by. Atlanta Braves is my backyard. So imagine me stressing about a long distance.
At least you're an Arsenal fan
Like-
with hope.
No,
Not
no,
like
no,
Lash. Not like Lash,
Why
my
are you
friend.
calling him out on the
Not like Lash. A hopeless, shameless
Lash?
Arsenal fan.
Who is Lash?
One of my friends who has also been on it.
You are a Chelsea fan. You shouldn't even be dragging us on to start it.
I saw something yesterday that clubs that have never won Champions League in their
Champions
100. I've won 2 Champions Leagues. I can rest for 100 years. Arsenal, do you?
This is true FC.
See,
You're becoming the United you don't like.
No. Me, I win a trophy this season.
I won last 2 seasons. I won last season.
Which
these are the
trophy?
problems.
Champions
5
League.
seconds more for football.
I
talk.
want-
Alright, sorry.
Let's
This
move
one,
on.
sorry.
Look at these
Anyway,
boys. Yeah.
Olympics is on.
Mm-hmm.
Premier League is almost here.
It's
And
too
well,
far. I don't know why you're saying
the
this.
Nigerian
It's not
government,
like middle goals.
Nigerian government.
Nigerian government, they are oppressing us.
Are they oppressing us?
Oppressing
Oh,
you.
no, they are oppressing
They're
us.
oppressing you.
No, they are oppressing me.
Oppressing
Why can
you.
I be buying fuel at 1,000 naira?
What? Where?
Renewed hope.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oh, renewed hope.
Yes,
I
that's what they
can't-
promised us.
Sorry.
1,000.
According to Punch today, is likely going to be 1-3.
For fuel.
You want to rant
like
out?
petrol or like? I don't want to know. Maybe we're not saying. We don't understand what fuel means.
Petrol.
I'm
It's
oppressed.
petrol.
It's diesel. It's diesel.
What's
I
this?
was talking to some guys, some of my customers from Canada. I was telling him yesterday, and I said, sir, how much were you buying ever water when you left? 17 naira, 15 naira. It's 300 naira now.
Water is actually 300 naira now.
Wow.
Are
I feel
you
like
really-
Naira is becoming like Monopoly
I don't
money
know-
a little
I don't
bit.
know where-
I don't like where it's going. I don't like where it's going. No, because
Bro, it's bad.
the amount of bundles you need to do anything now is
Bro, it's bad.
It's
it's
actually
insane.
ridiculous.
I mean, which country is that their money $1? You have to pack plenty
But,
money.
yeah,
Very soon,
because
Zimbabwe.
you want to go anywhere, you can't even carry
Plug in
anything.
Zimbabwe. How does a country go to the Olympics with 67 officials and 9 athletes? What is wrong with you Africans? Tolu?
You know.
Maybe there's a competition
Wait, is that real?
for officials now.
I mean,
Yes, now.
Africa, I don't know.
I feel like
I don't want to talk about that one.
Ghanaian
That one that
Paralympics.
they
the one that they got lost.
They got lost.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I believe that because like why they in
Somebody
Norway in the
comes.
first place?
Thinking about that one that they sent them to go and get
The
some-
coach.
It's Ghana, that's what we're talking of now.
Yeah.
They sent some people, the
Paralympics.
team got lost.
The team got
The
lost.
people they
Sense
sent.
to find them
Coach
also.
died.
Also,
Coach
No,
died.
coach died. They went to
They
get
went to
Anyway,
get his cup.
let's not talk
And-
about
but, like
your friend no get mic. No, yeah, does
Like,
remember.
Oh yeah, that's
African,
true.
man.
We don't even see her. I don't even think they need to hear her. I don't
No,
think
she
she has a
no
lot
dey,
to
she
say.
no
Is it
dey.
good?
She doesn't have anything to say.
What does she
Wow.
have to say? What does she have to
Wow,
contribute?
so-
She's not been here for like
Cold.
3 weeks.
so cold. Guys, let's be nice. At least be nice while I'm
Moving
around.
on. Shout out to you. Shout out to you.
Moving on.
Resume back
That's,
later.
no. Pettiness is new of the game. Yeah. It's new of the game. She started it.
Guys,
Fair enough.
knew something by the way. I mean, somebody dragged me on the last episode, so I'm like,
What's going on?
I need
Are you
to.
a child?
I need.
What are you
the shoe that they bought for him. I need to see my
So the last episode,
Yeah,
Isaac wore these
okay.
kicks that we used to wear in the 90s. What was it again? Then? One black
Vans.
Oh, Vans.
Vans are cool, though.
Vans. Yeah, I feel like Gen Z are trying to bring everything back.
Anyway, so Baba don't go
Yeah, I
on
went
this
to get new.
went to get.
So they bantered you so much you got new shoes.
Yeah,
Jesus.
It's good. That's how bad we get. No, trust me, they don't want to get. Particularly this one, you don't want to get on a bad side.
Okay. It's good. I'm only a guest.
Isaac,
Ma.
please, the floor is open.
Yeah, I mean, where do we start from? Latest news, immigration news. I don't know.
There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk
I'm
about.
feeling ready up.
Today's what, July what?
29.
By the time you listen to this, they probably have
Maybe I've
maybe
protested.
have
Maybe or
protested. We don't know
maybe.
yet.
Anyway, me, I don't tweet them today, Sha. There are 12,000-ish elective positions in Nigeria. Like in Nigeria. So
Yeah.
from House of Assembly, National Assembly,
Do
President.
you really need
government.
NYSC to run for all of them? Still?
It-
Are they removing the
obviously, you don't. So my message to my youth this period is, please don't die.
Sorry, I actually have a
So that
question.
we can go and collect it.
Something just hits my head. I'm so sorry. You need NYS to get a job, but you need just primary school certificate to be president.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like NYSC is not necessary for all these
Also,
things.
the
So,
presidency is not a job. Clearly, our lawyers are not
It's
doing
not
a
a
good
job.
job at the Supreme Court. Because, you know, sometimes when I read these cases, you know, if you be Nisha. Me, we no go law school.
Yeah.
I know if you win, I know if you lose that kind of case. Because presidency in a job. What's the value of a job? Are you collecting salary?
Exactly.
Yeah, you actually collecting salary. It's just-
So,
collecting salary.
why must I serve? And you can become a president.
because
But then again, these
Nigeria.
are judiciary.
I mean,
That's if you explain Nigeria to somebody and the person understands it.
you
Yeah,
Yes,
explain
very
it
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, explain
understand
it
it either.
There's no
But
problem.
anyway, moving on. We'll be fine. God go help
Alright.
us. Please.
That's the thing. We keep
Protest
saying
it.
you moving on. We'll be fine.
Very
We'll
well.
be fine.
See,
And
Are
Nigeria's
you,
no
problem,
are you ready? Mother of Mumsy, are you ready to die?
no, my problem with Nigeria is there's too much managed like that. And I feel
Yes,
like
it's
it
well.
is
It's
endemic
God, it's God.
everywhere. So,
It's
anyways,
Sorry, sir. You that live in the US,
yeah.
the last protest that you protested,
Which one?
the one that they
Capitol.
that they did somebody's neck. That's not a protest. That was something else. The one where they injured the guy
Okay.
and he died.
Black Lives Matter.
Black
So
Lives
that
Matter.
was 2020.
What has it? What life has
It
it
was the
changed?
same time he enters.
No, let him talk.
No.
So advance over the protest.
So let's be clear that the Black Lives Matter protest did actually change stuff. The problem is it didn't last long. So a lot of from 2020 till more recently, there were a lot of the initiatives that came out of it. My challenge to you is that
they're
Nigeria
not
doesn't
consistent.
resolve anything. Now again, we can say the long-term maintenance of those things need to be
Get
in
better
place.
leaders. People like
But,
Dick or
yeah.
Isaac Tolu go get a PVC, enter PDP, enter
you
this.
calling-
Don't
Names
call it.
like
So
this.
I mean,
Tolu
my own process to get PVC is on
Just
the way
get-
already. So
yeah.
I can't do that.
Just get
NIN already
get
done
it.
those kind of
They're only
things.
12,000 elected. We can't keep talking about this matter.
Yeah.
Jackpot will be running away is not the issue.
That one,
People they
regardless.
here. We at least 150 million at least. We
Oh,
don't
do you
know.
think Jackpot
where
You
you
have
go
family here.
People are
You have
here.
family
Nobody
here,
go
so
even Jackpot.
your friends
Nobody
are
even.
here.
Nobody even want go
Yeah.
Jackpot.
Some people just want to be army.
People like
So
you.
when you open party, call me now. Should be cool.
No, go. PDP. Team PDP.
Yeah, spokesperson.
You, yeah,
I
APC,
don't
Abi?
use-
Which one are you?
No, I'm
You-
his party.
you are with him?
I'm his
Okay.
party.
Anyway, I go.
Spokesperson. Anyway.
All right, then.
That's not an issue.
Moving on.
Anyway, I go.
Okay.
I won't move like what's that his name? This was
No. He doesn't deserve to. Don't call his name.
that guy.
I get one name for him. DB. Because you know go knows an insult.
Wait to be DB or big.
No,
He won't make it go tell us.
Okay.
Isaac,
can't believe you
moving
don't
on
know it.
before you get lost. What are you
Hey.
thinking about?
Immigration news now.
No, we talk about we need to go back to your hot
Okay.
gist. But hot gist plenty. Which gist hot gist one start from? Because Canada boy dey here. I didn't know people move this way. I saw one news.
Yeah, what did Canada do this? You know the funny thing? I love how we spoke about Canada and the US at the same
And
time.
but she said it was na Nigerian Canadian.
Yeah.
Here I was scrolling through IG,
Uh-huh.
and I will allow Mrs. Chimi to help me. I heard that one Nigerian family in Canada won't marry. Like 2 people won't marry. One person go see the Shina Baba Yawo,
Uh-huh.
right? When we see the husband, the
Father.
wife's
You
father.
want
Yeah.
When the mama go follow the son enter,
Insane.
everybody they look stunned. What happened?
Turns
What
out
happened?
that the mother, the mother of the girl was
Was the
cheating-
side chick.
was the side chick of the man,
Of the man. Of the Baba
of the
Yahoo.
father of the guy.
So,
No, she actually scattered
So,
the
yeah.
home then.
yeah, so essentially the
So
dad
no.
is potentially father for both of them.
The daddy may be
Depend.
potentially the father. That's what I
mean-
heard.
Yes, yes,
Is that how you guys move?
Wait, I was asking. Did the girl know? The girl had never met.
Never met.
Mom either. Nobody had met it
Now
till, like-
only the parents. So the mother and father that should have divorced because the father cheated. Now he recognized the woman.
The woman.
They want scatter their marriage. Now the parents they say marriage no fit go on.
Why?
Another person they say since
are
they
you
fit
saying?
forgive.
Why will it
You
go
almost
on?
you almost
Now-
scattered the home.
It's between the two
Wait,
of you
okay,
now.
wait.
Now
we
we don't know if the 2 children are siblings.
That's the issue
yes.
now. That's the real issue.
That part.
And they go round this thing.
Let's
They go
leave
round
it at that.
DNA.
They go round
So
DNA.
if the DNA is okay. If the
Isaac,
DNA
wait.
is worrying
Isaac,
you,
So
wait.
those are the things we told you to say. Now why people they stay for therapy with this?
No, if you run DNA test, you
Because
the children
who
can marry
feel-
now. If you run DNA test and find out,
if
that-
I reach
Do
heaven,
you know what it means? It means a reminder, a constant reminder that
you guys
you
are
know what
debating this.
I-
You are debating the wrong
What are you
thing.
saying?
Me, I want to ask Angel G, say, bros, what are the chances that
That
people,
this thing
how
can
dare
happen?
and they meet? You know, like 20 years each later. How? Like
it's
how
not
heaven they
now.
connect those kind of
yes,
things?
it happen.
They don't
It's
take. Now they want marry
Oh,
children.
it's small. What are you
Like, I want to ask bros, they say, how is this what you call coincidence?
This is beyond coincidence.
So that's my way to start hot gist.
What are the odds?
So Isaac, my question to you: will you go ahead and marry the babe?
Yes, sir. If she's not, if you find out that she's not my sibling, I was like,
So you know
Wait.
that your mom
was
was your babe's dad's side chick.
that was
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Wait.
He died then.
Like,
He died then.
They always say like this.
From that time that
You don't have a mic, you don't have a mic, you don't have a mic. You don't have a mic, you don't have a mic, you don't have a mic. You don't have a mic. Move on, you're distracting us. You're distracting us. They say silence.
But Tolu, what will you do?
I don't think it makes sense because not only are you marrying people, you're marrying their families.
Tolu,
I
for
wouldn't do it.
context, you've been dating this babe for 3 years. You've proposed, you've done
Eh,
everything.
you now let something of 20 years ago spoil your
No, but you
Go
can't
ahead.
now. No, but you can't.
something
You
20
can't
years
now.
ago.
Again, you can't. What are you going to do for Christmas?
Because
Grandchildren.
every time when they see,
Exactly.
Grandchildren, you can't. Like, I'm sorry.
You don't understand
No,
that time
let's-
heals.
No, time
You
doesn't
can let
like,
something of
because-
20 years ago.
No, but
No,
clearly
yeah,
time hasn't healed it because 20 years is back
let me
again.
pray for you. I
not.
pray you will never be.
So you will break up your relationship.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes. You have no choice.
Isaac,
what are you talking about?
Isaac, let me speak for myself. When in the days when I wasn't really a serious Christian, when you go get babe, when you just kiss, every time you see the babe years later, you go remember say you kiss.
Fact.
When they go Christmas, or best believe when the baby born,
But
when they want
exactly.
to do omugo.
The two
How
brothers
do you
were-
manage
mama
it?
of the one with the
How do you manage it?
cheats?
You don't
When they look
You have to move on. I'm sorry.
Again.
It's not your fault.
Again.
what
Time
Isaac?
heals.
So you think you're a hero?
Isaac.
You think you can solve it?
These are
I'll
you.
make
You bring the families together.
This will bring the
You know,
families
this is
together.
that thing too about my people. You would like to believe you're superheroes.
Exactly.
You really do. I'm sorry. You think you are special. There's exceptionalism that's doing all of you. I'm sorry.
don't
You
understand,
can't.
though. So you want? Oh yeah, let's think. Oh, sorry to drag
Bring
this
it back.
matter.
Sure.
Let's think of the two people involved.
I beg
Yes.
that
The boy
thing.
and the girl that have been dating for 3 days.
Which
Do you actually
one is
no,
profitable to
let
direct?
me ask you a question.
Yourself.
Let's be real now. Let's be real. Is it easy to cut off a 3-year
Yeah,
relationship?
that's
It's not easy because of it. That's not the issue though.
Isaac, it
It's
is
not.
easy.
But for your
This is
peace.
not a love
You
issue.
want peace?
This
Your
is
problem.
between the parents.
Isaac,
If I marry my okay, what if this?
I go
what
down,
if
go,
the couple
go.
decide to move to the
the
UK?
only the only way this thing
I
can
go
work
down,
is if one of them,
go,
one of the
go.
families is dead.
You go ja.
You know
One
that
of the families will
fact.
die.
One of them is dead. That's the only way this
They're
works.
old now.
No,
My
that's the
brother,
only
there's
way it
no
works.
way that works.
That's the only way because anything after
The
that
story
is drama.
goes spread.
It's drama.
20 years ago.
That's life,
Make
my
I
guy.
break up
Because again, that might be your dad, and the fact that even existed as a possibility is an issue, and you have to move on.
Daddy, oh, sorry. Oh. I know
okay.
there's history
What's
between you
wrong
and
with
this
this?
woman. Oh.
There's a thing.
leave you.
It's too
Okwe,
idealistic.
Let's
It's
leave
too
you.
idealistic.
Okwe,
Let's move on. Let's move
I know you
on.
don't have
It's too
my.
idealistic.
Will you break up with your relationship because of this?
You can break up with three over anything.
Relationship.
Very high. You know, I don't have time.
You can break three over anything. What do you mean? This guy, you can wake up and say, I don't like the way you chew, and you move on. Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
You found the one.
There's no one.
There is
You
not
find
the
another
one. Again,
Because-
that I knew that's where it was going. You think
Because
there's
my
only one
daddy's
person where you
dating
this
your
Find
life.
another one.
And the one.
Okay, wait, Isaac. What if they are siblings?
I don't feel hear that one. The level that you don't find the one this year. What be your problem?
Because I didn't stop at your own one.
Okay.
Chill, let's say something.
There will be plenty.
Okay.
I said, what if they are siblings? Have siblings?
That's what I'm saying. We'll do DNA test now.
So
What if
it's
you
only
confirm
DNA that's
that-
going to
so-
stop you.
That
Not the
one is
fact-
reasonable. Is a reasonable.
So the
it's
3
reasonable.
Not the
years
fact that
you
your father
you
look
will
like
lose
your
the
father.
one.
That's not the
You will lose
father's
the one
house.
because of a
That's-
medical test,
Jesus
Isaac.
Christ. Okay.
Medical test, you will lose the one.
Yes, now people break up. It's the same thing as breaking up for
Guys,
SSA.
that's
This
it.
now.
Let's go back. Let's
Alright.
go back to Malta.
Explaining me, Sean. Explaining me.
What happened in Malta? I feel like Malta has.
You two of you are cleaning my vibe.
No,
How do you not get what I
I
said
got it
immediately?
immediately now.
What happened in Malta?
Let's go back
Your
to
people
Malta.
are taking things. I'll be
Oh,
bringing
the
it.
refinery folks.
Yeah.
Information reaching us is
Yeah.
that.
Okay, that one. Yeah.
So can we start something? Can we start first?
But please, DSS
In all
cannot
my
carry
life,
you.
I
Let's
swear,
Disclaimer,
check.
In all my
Disclaimer.
life, sorry, in all
Based
my life,
on news.
I can count the number of times I've seen Dangote with a mic on my screen.
In the last 3 months.
When the price
I have
came,
never heard him until this year. Is this
Dangote
year
don't
that
do
is-
press
it's only
conference in the last
motivational
month like 5
speech I
times.
see him give.
Do they pass 30 seconds?
You know the pastors, you know
Somebody
to the
use
talk.
media fight now.
Now, if you see,
Anyway,
let me-
so for those that are wondering, let's just go straight so that we can enter our podcast for the day because time don't go. Dangote says that somebody in NNPC is blending crude oil in Malta.
And a dirty one.
And that, well,
It's not
that's
a
not in
clean
our
one.
business. No, they take our clean one there. They give us dirty one.
Dirty one.
And $2.something billion has been made in the last year alone since somebody was sworn in and said no more subsidy. What a coincidence. Now, somebody's son's company just bought the Italian Ajib oil
Yeah, Ajib, yeah,
and
I saw
all
that.
their oil exploration. Some invested.
No, it's not son. It's nephew.
nephew.
Same non-beware. Now, some investigators have gone ahead to find out that Oando owns the same processing plant. Now, Oando has come
Oando
to
debunked,
debunk.
oh.
Everybody, FG has come to
No,
debunk.
but if you look at the
but-
press release that they put out, the
the person that is signing
They
the,
just changed
the
C to S or
Oando's
something.
press release and federal government press release are the same.
Same.
Are we fools, Tolu?
Yeah.
What would have happened in the House of Commons to
So
Trudeau?
this is my problem. Like,
If-
I'm very
if this
concerned.
kind of
Like
allegation-
Nigerian politics is very much like a business, which is a concern.
Fact.
Like
Fact.
people go into government to run
business.
To run
business,
It's not
business.
even like
and that is part of
business.
the issue.
they privatize.
If you see now get this because I'm sure they're doing this in Saudi. Saudi Aramco just declared $175 billion profit
Profit.
from the same
Profit,
oil.
not revenue.
Oil, wow. Oh, that you one low.
Yes.
Sorry, our oil is better than their oil.
We found oil. We
That
found oil
oil
before
can clear all
they-
our debt.
Yeah.
So my problem is not that they are going to do business. Do business all you want. I don't care. Can
That's-
you please do the business
Business
well?
yeah, and at least let it be beneficial to us.
Someone said that during PDP, say everybody they chop from the pie.
Yes,
But
we
this
all
guy,
fine.
They
Bring
chop
me
the
back to
flour,
that day.
chop the egg, chop
Because
everything.
we're
They
fine.
don't pie. They
Egg
bought
was
pie
15
and they
naira.
ate it.
Indomie was 20 naira. Things were good.
It pains me like because if you go to other countries that produce oil and you see what they do with all their funds, like Norway, all these kind of places that like they subsidize with
Where
the oil, all the
they go
wealth.
beg their children make they go school
School,
because
free everything.
money too much.
I heard the saddest story. This, and you know what pains me with the government or all these people that support the government, especially the ones that are intellectual. When they're talking about the economy, they'll be saying, "Oh, our GDP rose by this, our GDP." The market woman on the street does not understand that English.
By the
Don't
way, I saw
understand that
something.
English.
And normally, I would not have said anything, but I will say it and I'll call the business name. Our friend from NSAS. Did you hear that Shega Link had a space and ministers came?
And are you serious?
I don't know how true it is, but that's what I heard on Twitter. And I heard another space where he lied that he never.
He
He
never
never
protested.
this protest.
You know the thing where they do me, and that's why the Bible says, "See, don't be foolish twice." This Shega Link was the guy we boys we know we did it.
We
You
are
know,
looking
say if you
up.
dress one side way, you know,
Yeah.
they go arrest us. We they look up to Shega, say Shega, don't arrest our guy.
Yes.
Pa, pa, pa.
How did you go
We
from
don't
that
even know
From that to
the
zero.
agenda,
Yes,
the
sir.
agenda.
in how many years?
Well, that's the challenge with oil, right? You don't need a big group of people to work together. It can just be a good set of people. Whereas if you're an economy that doesn't require that kind of resource, you have to have everybody work together. And so, I mean, that's kind of the curse and the blessing of being an oil-producing country. You can just...
All right.
No blessing with this one, sure.
Well, we didn't use it well
Yeah,
in our
we
own.
use it well.
Yeah, but
And that's ridiculous.
if you go to like Qatar and you see what they've done with oil money, Jesus, bro.
Does Canada have like a
Natural resource.
Natural
yeah,
resource.
they do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Because
it's one of the... They have
yeah,
a lot.
one of the largest.
They have
which one
oil,
is
they have
it?
water, they have all
Yeah.
kinds of things. Like, Canada's
Water
natural
resources.
resources are quite insane.
They got the second second largest
land
landmass
mass.
in the world after
Canada.
Russia.
After
Who
Russia.
are-
Yeah,
Canada,
yeah,
is
Yes,
a
sir.
lot. Like,
That's crazy.
even
Anyway.
the funny thing, even with global warming now, there's more oil that's being discovered because the places are now melting. So Canada is primed, really, if they use their resources well, to blow. But
They should open the border
We'll
for
see.
more Nigerians, sure.
No,
that's a different conversation. Do you want to start that one?
You guys,
I don't think it's not about Nigeria.
you
There's
guys
a lot.
need to be petty. Because I want to remind my guy that Alpha you don't pay carbon tax.
So yes, I do actually. I mean, we can talk
Oh, I
about
know,
that.
that's what I'm
Why
saying.
am I
like,
being-
because
But I don't-
At least I say me for here and they never tax me. But I
So
don't
they
think
tax
he
you
go tell
when
me
you-
now say.
They
He
tax
go
you-
tell me
when
say
they
me
tax you.
I go generous.
But they tax you
They
now.
tax you now. They tax you.
And your guy, they will still bring in more
They tax-
taxes.
See, but the thing is, I have no problem paying tax
The
in Canada
tax, because you are seeing-
when,
Okay,
so I was
that's
sick
the
in
result.
October, for example, right, and it was all free for me, right? Even though I wasn't even living in the country, I went home for 3 weeks. I was in hospital for 3 weeks. I left not one bill to pay.
See?
So
You
I
see?
will pay it.
Serious.
Countries that
For
are
3
working.
weeks. I was in a specific room.
But
to
this
myself.
is only available for
Something
permanent
for-
residents and citizens, right?
So
No, even students
no,
don't
any,
pay
as long as they're
insurance.
resident, as long as they have
Only
insurance,
insurance.
because the thing that pays for it is the insurance that we all
It's
pay into.
insurance, Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as you have that, then
Talk
you
about the country.
become.
When they
So
enter
it didn't cost me
G7,
anything.
we'll be Canada
I
before.
was it was something, I think it was my liver or something like that.
Waiting
3
you
weeks.
chop.
So no, it was a random thing that happened. So I was visiting, and then I just randomly got sick, and it was an infection of some kind.
Try.
African
Well,
African
sorry,
parents.
yeah.
See the way
You
you
were
ask
here?
him, wait till
No,
they
no.
chop.
So I was in the US. I was visiting Canada. So I was visiting a friend of mine, and it was a birthday party. So I went, visited. It was on a Sunday, so I was like, I'll stay the whole week, because again, when you're Canadian, you can do anything in your country. So by Monday, I was starting to feel sick. I was like, what's going on? Tuesday, I thought I got COVID. And all the COVID I've been trying to escape since. So like, man, COVID has finally caught me. So I was like, okay, if I'm still sick by Wednesday, I'll go. I was still feeling, I was getting much weaker. And so by Thursday, I was like, okay, I have to go. So I went to hospital, ER. I just sat there. I was like, guys, I have a pain in my abdomen area. I'm feeling cold, feeling feverish. So they ran some tests. They're like, is that something in your kidney or your liver? So we're going to hold you. And so they helped me for MRI tests all night and whatever. And so they essentially bumped me. So the way Canada does stuff is everybody has access, but they do it by severity. So whoever is closest to
Yes.
death essentially gets
By God's
priority.
grace, you're not
Yes,
close to
yes,
death.
Yeah, no. So that's how bad it was
I
for me
get, but I
anyway.
know
So
that, I know
so they
that.
prioritized me immediately because it was really bad. And so I sat in hospital. Immediately I got put on drip, antibiotics, all those kind of things. And I was there in hospital like 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight.
And you spend the dime.
Didn't cost me anything.
Nope. They got the
They
post.
They didn't
didn't
ask
have to-
him
they didn't have to pay
that
for was the
your,
drugs.
That's it,
your
Like the medication.
insurance
So
cannot
that
pay for
after,
this and
when
that.
they like, here's what you need to take to maintain it.
Just to maintain.
That was the only thing I needed to pay.
But they
I
didn't
don't
even know where
feel-
anything came from.
yeah,
Where I was
like,
just
like
saying.
offended, yeah. What'd you say?
They didn't know like where.
So they had a
where
couple of theories, either a swamp of some kind, or I went to visit wildlife, which neither happened. So they're like, that's very strange, because someone that young shouldn't have what I had. So
Anyway,
yeah, but anyways, it was a random situation, and again, thank God I was in the US, because that would have been heavy.
cost you a lot.
Yeah.
But thank God you were not in Nigeria.
And I don't think in Nigeria either, because I don't
Yeah,
think.
you
Where you are wrong. Where you are robbed and you are stabbed and they ask you
Yeah.
for police reports.
Police report.
That's not even that now.
So,
that
yeah.
scene they would have
They refer to general soon.
they would have said is another thing that is happening
Yeah,
to
they'll
you.
give,
Yeah.
they'll give
So
you
like,
wrong guidance.
yeah, so I did-
Or the MRI is not working. No,
I
like,
did a bunch of tests. I think at least 4 or 5, and I did like multiple times.
That's
And in my mind, I was like worried. I was like, gosh, the cost is going to be crazy. But I was like, you know what? It's Canada, so at least maybe like, maybe max $1,000. Ding, ding. So I was like, okay, whatever the deductible is,
Zero.
I'm ready. And I was like, okay, so I was leaving. Like, where's my bill? And they were like, you're free to go. What are you talking? You're like, again, when countries function, like, when you're asking, they'll look at you like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
You know that's why someone tweeted that he wants, if he has money, he wants every Nigerian to just
Go outside, yes.
at least 1 week.
I think so. I think it'll be
Experience
Someone
it.
so.
tweeted yesterday and said, oh, everybody now has 20 hours, above 20 hours light a day, and nobody's thanking the government. And I'm
So
like,
why should you
why
think
should you
it, though?
thank the government?
That is
You literally pay your tax.
Am I not paying for the lights?
that's it. It's not like
about
a,
tax.
you're not doing me charity. You're not doing
When
me.
they renovated, is it Third Mainland or so? People were celebrating.
So,
because
I think people that have cars, and if you go through that while you celebrate, but
No, like
but
they
you
were
reduce the
praising
expectation so much.
the
now.
government.
no, nah,
But that's the thing. Like if you've punished me so much,
anything
anything
you give me
above
just
feels like a, but you're not realizing that you're behind the A-ball. So
May God help
like
us.
it's quite unfortunate. Like a lot of things I see that even happen in my time here now. I'm just like, okay, first of all, this is a problem. But we will do this again, manage it like that we were talking about. You manage it like that. But at least we have you know, like,
Yes, that's the thing.
so
And we keep priding ourselves in we can face anything,
Yeah.
can overcome
we
anything.
can, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So another thing is they push us to the wall too much, and like we don't fight back.
We keep pushing the wall.
We keep pushing the wall. So the
The
wall
question,
the
is,
wall.
the question is not me that. The question is, well, fight. How do you want to fight?
How do you
That's the
want to fight,
question. Because
rather?
they fight bloody. Are you prepared to fight bloody?
That's the
That's
question.
what I thought.
The people
find
that
out.
died in October 2022.
2020, not 2022.
It's already 4 years.
2020,
Yes,
yes.
Yes,
4
it's
years.
already 4 years this October.
Yeah, I mean,
Well.
but let's see, sure. So yeah, Tolu, thanks for coming again.
No problem.
Nice to have
Before I
you.
run
You
away.
got to finish that story, man. Yeah.
So, I mean, but before we start, how's your experience been here in Nigeria?
Wow, 6 weeks in Nigeria. As
6
an adult,
weeks? That's
yes,
crazy,
6 weeks
man.
in Nigeria. So it's as an adult rediscovering your country as an adult, especially because I left when I was 16. It is a very wild experience, right? The amount of things that don't work the way they should, but also thankfully there's a lot more like independence I can still have. So I know the internet situation is significantly better, which is helpful. A lot of people can't even tell, like in some of my classes that I'm teaching online, they can't tell that I'm not in Canada or the
Oh,
US. So
yes.
that's kind of
That's still
better.
fair.
So that is something. It's a little slow, but at least for me, but it's still good enough. There's a lot more technology stuff. So like even you can bring groceries to your house now, Chow Deck and
Yeah, I think
Go Lemon, which is kind of nice. You can get
publicity.
They need to pay us.
when we allow it, we allow it.
Guys.
So those kinds of things are kind of nice, but I feel like there's still ways to go, like infrastructure wise. I think a lot of things, even for example, the train situation that we have in Lagos.
Sure, go.
I'm not sure where, like, it feels like people are doing things for like the atmosphere. Like it's Christmas, let's put Christmas tree. So we have train, let's put train. As opposed to how does this function for what we need, right? If you think about even that Lekki Ekpe Expressway, that's the only way to access that corridor. That to me doesn't make sense, especially when
Literally.
there's water around it. You can think of Nigerian solutions that help all these things, right? There's so many grids that are locked. And there's now a lot of like every estate now has their own code. Google Maps struggles, for example, where it doesn't recognize, for example, a street is one way or things like that. So there's still a lot of those like basic rails you need to fix
But-
that allows for things above it to be built, like applications.
But
and
the
stuff like
Google Map, is it a Nigerian thing?
that. It is not, but what is the Nigerian alternative? That's my point,
Yeah.
right? You need to create like a
Nigerian
Nigerian alternative
solutions.
that is because I understand Google Maps. So if you tell me I'm creating a Nigerian Google Maps, maybe you call it like how do we ask for direction? Which is hey Joe, please, I'm looking for this bus stop. That's the Nigerian way we do stuff. So-
Startups, are you guys listening?
right? But if you create it and it almost like built on local knowledge, okay, you don't pass this way, there's one way here, or you don't pass this side because police will stop you here.
Yeah.
All those kinds of things, you make it technology, and then people can use it because it's a way we already understand. So those are all those like infrastructure things. Even Korean stuff now, no one uses NIPOST because essentially it's a
Fuck.
defunct
Fuck.
organization, but it still runs.
We need to talk
technically.
about how that ministry and with all the hype, man, the Nipos guy that was really hoping that.
When was the last
Is
time?
that
When
possible?
was the last time you used it? Somebody sent a device,
Nipos
and
is
they
terrible.
didn't see the device
It is
inside.
something.
So
But we
why
ship things all the time, right?
Let's
like
not even
a lot
talk
of
about
stuff
your
is-
drainage in your island area. Sorry, bro.
See, Dolphin is on brand. Let me not lie to you. Dolphin Estate is on brand because it's just water. So clearly they want you all to be swimming. And I feel like those kinds of things still being a problem in 2024 to me is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Like the big rain that happened that time where like half of Lagos flooded.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not as if we don't know rainy season comes the same time every
What
year.
solutions are they
Every
putting in
year,
place?
yes.
No.
Right? So
Yeah.
to me, like some of these challenges still happening and people just being like, well, it's part of it. As if we are the first to have natural disasters or natural, and it's not, by the way, it's not natural
Natural
disasters.
disaster.
This is a man-made.
You get,
It's man-made
Now we use
disaster.
our hand.
we're the ones that are making all these kind of decisions that make it seem as if we're not thinking.
Why
And
not? We don't have leaders that think.
is unfortunate, but I feel
That's why
like
they booed our guy at Babcock the other day.
Yo, it was
This
just yesterday,
weekend,
you
a governor.
know, Dr. Abiodun.
Yeah?
They
they
really
booed
booed
him.
him.
I got
And
to
somebody,
see
so,
That's
so,
one of the
so
worst
he was,
performing
he was
governors in
trying to
Nigeria.
tell people not to
Not to
protest.
protest. They
Then
booed
somebody,
him. Then the PhD guy
the
that's
PhD
in
guy
the
that was
60s
graduating
really went at
came
him.
and
man.
went at him like.
Anyway, let's go back to our story. But we'll start with the question on. Isaac has this question he asks his friends. So let him
Yeah,
talk
so,
about.
I was having a conversation with a friend who just
Yeah.
got back from Canada.
Okay.
And he, I mean, obviously he's planning on going back, but like he wants to be a Nigerian. Maybe
Yeah.
just get his pali and then.
and
be
then,
in
yeah,
Nigeria.
it
And
makes
he
sense.
said that, I mean, but he's the second person telling me this, or third.
Yeah.
You can't exactly have like, you can't amass like sufficient or let me say stupid wealth
Yeah.
as an immigrant in Canada. What do
As
you
an
want to say
immigrant,
about
okay,
that?
so there's
Yeah.
two parts to that question. I'm going to isolate them. So you can't make stupid amounts of money, and then as an immigrant, because those are two independent things. Canada as a society is designed, especially from a tax code perspective, income perspective, and just like general corporations perspective, to make everybody average. So progressive,
Sorry, everybody, including their citizens.
including citizens, the goal is to be average, to have a decent quality of life, right? That's why they always like try to make these things policies around like being middle class. No one's goal is we want you to be rich, but we don't want you to struggle. So that's why there's all these welfare programs that catch anybody that falls out of the average. So homeless shelter program, things like that. But the goal is to raise you quickly to average. So education for high school will be free, primary school will be free, but university you have to pay. Because again, when all these things were made, high school was the average. Soon enough, by the time they realize that university needs to be average, then they start fighting tuition fees.
Yeah.
But till then, they're using internationals to fund tuition. So we'll come back to that in a second. So now as a result, you can quickly upskill in Canada to average. You can quickly become competent, whether in tech, whether in nursing, all those kind of industries. Now, to break out of average into upper class is where the challenge begins, because the tax system now starts to drag you significantly. So
That's true.
you get taxed on income. Every time you make any money, you get
Baz
taxed.
booze.
You make any capital gains, you get taxed. Now there's some space in there. There's like a 250 cap before half of it first is untaxed. Then anything above 250 gets taxed at a certain rates, and then on and on like that. Then if you are a business, you get taxed differently. So the goal is now to shift from being an employee into corporate so that you minimize taxes, because the government is more favorable to corporations. So again, as an individual, that is the game plan. If you want to break out as an individual going through the employee tax code, you will go up a wall. Again, they don't make as much money anyways, and the tax is very, very high. So you have to switch. Now, as an immigrant, this is the second part. Technically, the system was built for permanent residents and citizens, right? And immigrants, your goal is to reduce the cost of labor. So if I'm going to hire a Canadian, let's say I'm going to pay you 100K, an immigrant, I'm going to pay like 80 or 60, right? So again, you are following the same tax code, but I'm paying you lower. So you are going to naturally grow slowly,
Which is normal.
which is normal, right? Because again, I don't know if you're going to commit to me, and so why should I commit to you?
I'll do the same.
You can quickly leave,
Yeah.
right? So Canada is not like great and where you bring expats in. They're not. It's not like Nigeria where like expats. Oh my goodness, let's pay you more. The US, on the other hand, is where the advantage now becomes. So that's what I've done, where I realize, okay, I'm competent enough, the same as an American, and Americans and Canadians see each other as kind of equals, but they pay a lot more in America, and the tax code is lower. And again, America is strictly capitalism. We don't care for you to be average. As long as you're a producer, we want you. So this is where the systems differ. And an immigrant can perform well in America because we don't give a shit. Pardon my French. We don't care whether you are average or not. As long as you can produce, we will give you, we'll throw as much money at you. So that's why experts can go there and make a lot of money. And so,
Now French class.
sorry.
So you don't go get US passport now.
No, I'm actually not interested in an American passport or even permanent residence, but I'll come back to that.
Okay.
But again, the point is, you can see how like
Yeah.
those
That's
systems
policies.
are different.
Well, that's also,
and that's where
I
like the
think
healthcare thing, they didn't
America
care
is
that
probably
much.
similar to Nigeria, because do you think it's the type of government? I think that's it.
I think yeah.
It's
So
the type of
America is
government,
very
right?
similar. I think Nigeria
Because
is
same
more
thing in
similar
the
to
UK, because like I said, the Commonwealth, UK, Australia, Canada, similar things, parliamentary, hard for immigrants to really break even. You've got to follow the system and then become a resident. US, America,
You can buy
so
your way.
US, Nigeria, pretty much the same.
Yeah, you can buy your
where
way. So
we
that's why
use
that's why
presidencies. That's
Nigeria
nice.
will make you a lot of money if you know what you're doing or you know
Yeah.
the right people. America will do the same because there's no safety nets. We're not building for society to save you.
Yeah.
So if you come in average or whatever, you can break through quickly.
But
The
not
West,
not
right?
everybody has that interest because
Yeah.
usually someone like me would know this, but most people that come to me just want to jar.
They don't want to go anywhere. Yeah.
People are not really
Yeah.
interested in that side of the money I make. It's when they get there and they're done.
Then
with
you
school,
realize,
"Ah."
actually, but that's the thing, right? Like when you're struggling, anywhere,
Yeah,
anywhere benefits,
Anywhere benefits. At the end
right?
of the
It's
day.
only when you're comfortable, you're like, okay, because the same thing happened to me, right? I've gone to Canada, I'm okay now. Actually, wait, come. I have
Yeah,
passports.
How do I do this? How
Now
do I
what
do
makes
that?
mess,
Yeah.
especially if you're not interested. Now, if you're interested in running corporations, then sure you can do it anywhere. It doesn't really matter. But I'm not that interested in being a guy at the top. Like it's not really doing me. I still want to take vacation. I want to travel.
do your work.
So America makes the
Yeah,
best sense.
and in our last episode, you were talking to us about housing and how as an immigrant you were now able to. You took advantage of some of the systems.
Yeah.
So let's go back into.
No.
Yeah, where you stopped, where you were talking to us about the loans.
Yes. Okay.
And of course, even getting jobs in Canada
Yeah.
after school, your MBA
Okay.
and things like that.
So for me at the time, when I finished my undergrad, a lot of people do this thing where like they apply blind. That's what I call it. Where like you don't know who is posting, you do anything, you just see job posting, you apply. And one of the things I wanted to do differently was I wanted to email recruiters because at least I can write more story because the format is always standard when you apply online.
Yeah.
So I emailed this guy and I let him know my interests, all the things that I'd done, and I put my resume as well if he wanted to speak to me and the time that could, whatever. So I changed my strategy of just applying to everybody to only where the recruiter puts their email because that also means that they want you to actually reach them. So that's how I got my interview for my first job out of uni. And then of course, luckily Canada, again, they have all these tax systems and the goal is if you invest in schooling, we'll give you some tax credits. At the time, they've adjusted them slightly so they don't do it the same way anymore. But at the federal level, it was there, and the provincial level, Ontario, was there. And so I did that, and then I was like just saving money because I think I don't go anywhere. The most I will spend on is trad, right? And so that's how like money was piling up. And I remember I talked about the story of how like I bought my house from my landlord at the time.
Yeah.
And so now it came time to figuring out loans. And so this is the part where like, again, being Nigerian, again, the way they teach us is you go and shop around the window, shop first.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't do that because they think as an immigrant, you are doing me a favor to give me a loan.
Yeah.
So whoever gives me first, I'm going to take it, whatever the
time.
term.
Must change. Yeah.
So for me, again, maybe because I didn't understand properly, and this is where sometimes ignorance can be blissful, but I did not realize that that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be grateful for the small one they're giving you. So in my mind, I thought it as, I'm the one buying house. All of you compete with each other and tell me who is the best one. So I went to about 3 banks, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for a loan for this house. And all of them were like, first of all, why do you have good credit as an immigrant? What's going on? I was like, oh, well, because I've been a student here for so long. I have had a credit card and your credit is spotless. Okay, we are willing to do whatever. So I talk about how like, that loan ended up being 10%. Needed to come up with 10% for the house. And the time was like 200 and something K. So I had it. And as I said, I was going to buy another pre-construction. And that one came from the tuition credit I got back from my taxes. Because again, I also want to follow taxes. The other cool thing that I also just mention quickly, when you're in Canada, again to your question before, knowledge is really what is helpful because a lot of people do the thing of like, I'm supposed to follow the system, and if I follow the system, it will reward me. But really, you need to understand what the system is asking you to do.
Streetwise.
Because the system's tax codes and everything are written in a specific way so you understand what you are required to do. So that's why I say, for example, running a business is the best path because Canada wants you to go that route eventually. If you're going to be an employee, they will drag you. So in my own case, luckily, I had enough of a tax base to get a lot of money back. And then when it was now time to go to the banks, who are the biggest employers, they also like, okay, so now they start keeping track of your credit and whatever through credit reports. So I worked for a few years and I was like, I wasn't liking what I was doing as a software developer. I just didn't enjoy it. I wasn't very good. I was, again, one of my managers told me, you're average at best. Which, at the time, I was like, excuse me. Average at best. Just, and it's not personal.
God bless that manager.
It's not personal.
Yeah, you see.
It's not personal. Like, look, listen, you can have a great career as a software developer, as an average
feedback.
As an average developer.
If you give me
you will make
they go they think.
You will make money. Don't worry, you will get paid, but you will have an average career. And again, you also want to be in industries where being average is good enough, typically. But if you want to have a great career, there's another area that I think you'll be good at. You know the tech. Writing the tech is not your strong suit, but connecting with people and bringing that tech to people, explaining the idea, the concept is where you're strong at. So if you get paid for that, instead of this area that, you have a better chance.
So the first episode we had this auntie that encouraged that.
Yeah.
This manager is the guy that
that has changed my life.
You
to
really
be
need
honest.
to, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
changed my life.
Clearly.
So again, if you take it personal, that what do you mean I'm married? If I'm not even working for you again,
Nigeria, they're going to think about it for 1
but
week.
that's not thought about it. What's in it for him to tell me that?
We can't
That he
compare
was
the pay now.
right.
Average as best.
So I mean, after I've taken the knock to my ego, I was like, okay, let me go and look at other things. So I looked at business analyst, and I was like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to do my MBA. So I went and spoke to him again. Hey, are you interested in, helping me sponsor my MBA? I think I have what it takes.
The same bank that funded your school, your house?
So one of the banks funded my house, and then first I spoke to my manager
Oh,
if
okay.
the company would sponsor it.
Oh,
And
okay.
at the time he said no, because essentially we're not paying you for that, essentially. So okay, cool. So I went to the banks this time. And so I wanted to go to one of the top schools in the country. Because again, Audacity, this is the thing.
Yeah, that's the man.
So I was like, I want to go to one of the top schools. So there were 3 schools. So Queen's University, University of Toronto, and Ivy. And those were the top ones around me. So I wanted to go to one of the 3. And so I was like, okay, let me start with one that's closest to me. So I applied. And then they told me no, that my grades weren't good enough for my engineering. Because again, I struggled. And again, to the same advice. One, I was working through school, right? And I was also doing engineering, which was kind of hard. So if you're going to do engineering, you have to be focused and not have any distractions. Because I was working.
You don't
So-
have a choice. You have to work.
So, especially with Naira crashing. But anyway, so so I spoke to the bank and they were like, okay, if as long as you get in, we'll figure out something. But you gotta get in. So I emailed the school back.
Yeah,
And I was like, so I told them that, guys,
you know why
since I know.
I doesn't know this. I'm the juggernaut.
So I emailed them back. Being like,
$100.
What?
he hasn't watched the movie. He hasn't watched the movie. It's a millennial thing. He doesn't
Well, we
know.
should put it in the caption. But go ahead.
So I emailed them back being like, hey,
Audacity.
I feel like you've not reviewed
Fairly
the
looked at me,
totality of my
yeah.
application. That I've only given you my transcripts, but here's other things I've done since. So I talked about the real estate thing that I'd done. I talked about some of the stuff I'd done on my website at the time. I talked about things I was doing in my community service. And so they were like, hey, they reviewed it again. And like, okay, you know what, finish the rest of the application. Let's get to know you and then we'll.
Yeah.
So I sat down with them, spoke to the associate director at the time. I spoke to the MBA director at the time and one of the lead coaches in the program. And then by the end of it, they gave me a scholarship to come. So I'd gone from being rejected to getting a scholarship to go. Now, I went back to the bank. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went back to the bank. It wasn't a full ride, but at least it was a
Yeah,
sizable
it was
amount.
something,
So I went, right? So I went back to the bank being like, oh yeah,
They don't give me
I've got
scholarship,
seen.
oh.
Nice, your son, what's going on? So again, shopped it around all the banks. Because in my mind, that's what you do. I've already done it for real estate before. This is not new. Shopped it around. And then the best deal in the end was a 90,000 loan for anything I needed to do. And then I think the rate was prime. So it was
Break it down for us.
so prime. Okay, so let me quickly explain. So banks loan money from the Bank of Canada. Same thing in Nigeria. Every bank does this
CBN.
at a certain rate, and then the banks then loan back to people at their own prime rate plus whatever to make their own profit. But because when you're going to some of the top schools, they give specific programs to these schools because they think you're going to be a high income earner. And then remember the average time about high income earner, because then you will pay a lot of money, and if we are the ones that serviced you into that position, you're going to use us as a referred, which is the strategy they're thinking about. So in their mind, this guy is going to be a high income earner for as long as he finishes this MBA. So we might as well be his preferred bank to start. And the strategy as well, because I still use them till today. In fact, I use them as cross-border. So again, this is how you think about long-term strategy. So they gave me 90K in a line of credit, but it's still a loan. And then it would convert to a loan after 2 years after I finish graduating. So I can use it and put it back as much as I need to. So that was the game plan. So prime, I think at the time was like 3%. So I think it was about 3, I think. But I'll have to go back and check. But anyway, so all that to say, that's how I funded my schooling.
Well, could you have funded it yourself? Like any bit of it yourself? Because I know that.
No, I saved some.
Yeah, but
how much do I have? I'm going to pay 80K. And again, understand, Uncle Anki and Auntie BC, which is my parents, cannot fund that. Right? They've already, and in fairness to them, they already struggled through the undergrad one and right, and so, and even that one, it wasn't even enough. Where I still had to work on top to get. So they've tried. I cannot go back and say, oh, yeah.
But you weren't a resident that time.
So going into the MBA, I'd become a permanent resident. I was an international student for undergrad. But even that one, the MBA is still expensive, whether PR or international student.
Why I'm even saying that is,
Yeah.
I'm just curious to see how, with education loans and stuff, if it was just your credit that really helped you with the bank to get that loan at that rate, because today you've got Empower who's giving education loans at a very high rate.
So for sure, the banking one was held because I was a permanent resident and already built up years of history.
Great.
And then I got loans from the government as well, but that one I think was 15K or 20. Or
Yeah, but I would tell our students who come to us for education loans when we say, look, if Empower gives you 60K for school, and maybe you've got to pay that over a couple of years, probably pay maybe 100K back ish. If you go do a very good program, in your estimation, how long? Like, is that not going to be small money down the line when you go do? If you have that audacity and of course you have the wit.
So luckily for me, I also have like a lot of financial discipline personally. That's me. So that's the other advantage. A lot of people pay back loans of like 100 and something K over like a decade, right? And of course that's the other side where they make money. Even if you don't become a high earner, the interest will make off you. And again, student loans typically are not dischargeable by bankruptcy, typically. So most of the loans you can discharge this when you
This
go.
one you could do
but
with
you
you
need to
to
hold.
get to a part.
So my own game plan was always I was going to pay it off in 3
Quickly.
years. That was my own goal.
3
Again,
years.
I have a very Nigerian mindset. I don't like owing people money. I wasn't comfortable with stuff like that. So my own plan was no matter what, whatever the case, I'm going to pay it off quickly. So once I got out of the MBA program, I focused exclusively on paying it off, and of course still taking like employer match on retirements, but they're going to have that separate conversation. So for me, I ended up paying up mine off in 24 months because I had that focus. So mine was 100. Everything altogether was 117K that I paid off. That's including the school fees. I also paid off my car, but that was a different thing. I had a car loan, and so everything I was owing at the time, I paid it off. But again, that's my own specific discipline. Yeah. And I remember the people that told me you can't do stuff like that. Like, come on. But again, so the stuff I did, sold a house, things like that.
Any
So-
regrets in this process though? Before we go into the kind of job you then got to, because that's really where the game changed.
I think there were things that I lost the relationship with the process. So I don't know that that's a regret because I think it also revealed a side of me that I learned about myself. It caused a lot of strain. When you're dealing with numbers that high, it causes strain. There was also things I discovered about maybe things I don't like. Maybe sense amount of money I don't like giving out or spending or things like that. So you learn a lot about yourself in that process. And of course, it's a very stressful time as well, right? And being stressed and then carrying that level of loans
it's not
and it'll be doing it in isolation because it's Kingston.
So you
So
would say
I don't say it's regret, but you learned a lot about.
It was like a big risk you took.
Oh, it's a big risk because you could have gone like the other thing that could have also happened is at any point you could have failed that program, and if you don't have the degree out of it, and you've carried the loan, so you have nothing to show for the loan you've invested.
Well, you were still working full time.
I was not.
You're
So
not
I
going
took,
to
no,
school.
no, because again the company wouldn't pay for it.
So
I had to leave. So I left the company, and I was on savings, right? So savings and then all my loans. So my MBA was 1 year. So it was accelerated. So that was mine was 1 year.
One whole year.
One whole year.
So
Full
funny
time,
story.
Yeah, that's how
He did his engineering first degree in Carlton, right?
Carlton, no,
and he says he didn't really have a great grade. Tried to go into Queens, they rejected him. Then they met him, gave him a scholarship. Now he's a professor
there
in
at
that
the
school.
Yeah, that's the other part. So, yeah.
So my question is, so tell me about what happened. I remember we were talking then, from when you were wrapping up, you started marching with companies. So what then happened with companies from then till now?
So now, okay, so during the MBA again, so you have to be proactive. So this is the thing, like you don't wait for opportunities to come to you. You always go out and get them. So even in the MBA program, I went to a bunch of conferences, and so the program is supposed to run from January to December, and by August I was already finding jobs, I was already interviewing, and so I started working in October. So I told my school, people, oh yeah, I have a job. The reason why I came here is ready as IBM. So
Yeah, IBM was first year.
So and people, what can we do? They're like, yeah, you can take these electives earlier. You will have finished your program and you are free to go. Essentially, these are the credits.
Peace
So I was like,
out.
in that case, I'm gonna do that. So I finished my MBA 2 months early, right? And I was gone. So my classes were still in school. Me, I was working because again, the money is chasing me at the back. And then, the funny thing is, the interest rates, and obviously now I'm seeing higher interest rates. But at the time, this was my first introduction to managing debt and financing. And of course, luckily in the MBA, now I've learned a lot of financing and debt instruments and things like that. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I can hold this for however long. My problem is I don't want in 3 years to still be remembering the loan from school. So what I'll do is, if I pay this loan off, I still have 2 years after the MBA to use my line of credit. So what I'll do is I'll pay off the school thing, use the line of credits to do other things.
To lose.
So it's
you
a
went by how
3%.
many- You already had 2 houses at the time. Oh.
So I use it to fund any other thing I need to do, and then also start funding whatever. Because again, I also now understood taxes and bringing my tax drag. So I joined IBM, and from there I worked with them for 3 years. So that was a lot of fun. But then it was time for a change because I now learned the discipline of product management.
Yeah.
So
IBM to Meta, right?
So I know IBM to Sportsnet.
So Sportsnet, no.
Sportsnet, and so for those who don't know, Sportsnet is Canada's largest broadcaster. So think of it like,
Like
sports.
ESPN.
So like ESPN, that's Canada's version. They own the NHL league rights there. They own a bunch of. They also own the Blue Jays, so the baseball team. They own it. So
this band.
so I was there for a year.
Can't even ask to Louis.
They
You can't
must-
ask to Louis how far you're where are you now?
Yeah, so that's where it started. So Sportsnet, and now I was owning mobile apps for all of Canada. So anytime you're on your phone, it's my goal to know what you are doing across Canada because I want to be there.
That's interesting.
So my professor reached out to me from the MBA program. He's like, oh, I see you're doing some pretty cool stuff. Would you mind doing a webinar for my class so that my students can see the cool stuff you're doing because we had always bantered in class. So I came out like, sure, I did it for her. And she was like, that was really positive feedback from the students. Will you come and guest lecture a class?
Wow.
I said, sure, when? When do you need me? So I came. She even did a whole photo.
That
She was
free?
like, oh, me? Yeah, no, I was for her. Yeah, I'm doing a favor.
No, I'm just
Yeah, no, so my professor is calling me back. Sure, I'll do it for you for
sure.
free. Oh, so they I think they paid for my train from Toronto in.
Okay.
But I was like, yeah, so cool. I did that for free. Again, great feedback. So they're like, okay, so I'm thinking of starting a master's program. Would you join the advisory board?
Yeah. That was when the Master of Public.
I said, I'm sorry. I don't know how I feel about being a board of directors on a university. Like, well, she's like, no, I think you'd be great. So I joined that board. So I'm on that board now, so board of directors for that program.
She was not here at the last episode.
About academic excellence. If you don't have
Hey, it's okay.
You decided.
I said
Anyway,
you're going to get my number from me.
so I joined, and then so my own role was to figure out early career and mid-level product management stuff. And then from there, she was like, hey, at this point, I now got a job with Meta.
Yeah.
So I got a job with Meta. So Meta was like, okay, Tolu, how far you want to come out here? And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know. I always wanted to go to the US, but I didn't know the
Well,
time.
at this time, you had not been to the US.
No, I visited. No, but like move and live there.
yeah, okay.
Because I also didn't like cold. That's the other thing about, I mean, again, one
US
Nigeria.
is colder than.
No, the places in the US that I wanted to be in were going to be warm. Canada is obviously cold in the
San
winter.
Francisco.
So they gave me the opportunity to go to San Francisco. And I said, say less. I can go and see all my tech bros. We move. So I moved to Meta at the time. And so my professor again now reached out to me like, hey, in the summer, there's a course I was supposed to teach, but I'm going to be off.
Hi.
Would you want to take my class?
Killer go mommy, where does mommy pray?
In all of
No,
this,
I say prayer no, Guinea. Prayer no. Now only I go school.
So I said, you know what? She's like, because again, they're seeing me take on all these different like webinar, lecture. She's like, hey, I think you could try again. I don't imagine you're going to be perfect the first time.
But
But-
at least it will help you.
So if you're interested, I'll set up a meeting with the
But
dean.
at this time, were you even interested in lecturing at all?
So-
When did it hit you like, oh,
Yeah.
lecturing?
So one of my friends started an educational company, and he was like, "Hey, I'm starting this thing. I need like contracts, and I want to do like a product management course. I've already seen you also done whatever. Would you be interested?" And I mean, for me, it's sure. I mean, I have the time, so I tried it out. It was nice. It was kind of cool, and it was all online. So yeah, sure, I can do that. So I tried that out. My mom runs a school, Diamonds International School, Ikoyi. It's 7 last year. Quickly plug it in. So my mom runs a school. My grandmother started the school in 1979.
Education, they have.
So I already have a general sense of what it
Learned
should feel like.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, okay, third generation teacher, sure, why not? And so the dean and I sat together, being like, okay, hey,
Do you look like? That movie, How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, how is it?
Ted?
If you find babe for your class, they are good. We go right. I go. My love,
why did you?
See, that's why. See, intellect.
Yeah.
Opo.
So
Go
anyway,
ahead,
so
sorry.
yeah, so I met with the dean. I met with the director of the MBA.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we're always looking for new talents to join our classroom.
Wow.
we think, I mean, it's great for the brand too because
There's not enough
you're
time.
students.
Did they train you? Did they give you? Did you have to build your stuff?
So they gave me some material
Okay.
to get started, and they're like, you can take the class any way you want. So my class is called Digital Execution, so MBA 842. That's the core code. Full-time MBA. Actually have a class tomorrow. But essentially, so my own spin on it was, you guys have seen the show How to Get Away with Murder, where she comes into class and it's just straight practical.
Yes,
I was like, I'm gonna do that. First, they loved it immediately. I was like, all right, so here's the problem. Let's start solving. What do you think? What do you think? And so,
yeah.
because I can't teach you anything that your MBA professors can't teach you already. There's nothing special. But what I can
have to
show
do
you is
something else
this is the real life
right
experience.
now. Yeah.
This is how would you solve it. And again, I always make it abundantly clear to students that like there's no one way to solve stuff. All of you have different ideas. It's always what the market responds to, and you adapt based on that. So what I do with them is I'll give them an example of something. Everyone will come with their solution, and then I'll make the class vote. So you can see that it's not necessarily because your idea is bad.
It's just what everybody prefers at the time.
And then I also change the parameters. I'm thinking, so
I
if you have this much money, how do you adjust your product?
When I
If you have
retire
this,
from politics,
so that's so that's
okay,
my spin on my class.
So you
Yeah.
then move from Meta to
So move to Reddit, and then so
Sorry,
Reddit.
but
Yeah.
while you were doing those moving, you were still lecturing.
yeah, no.
Yes, because you can do it
Yeah, same
online.
Reddit.
So even as I'm doing it in Nigeria, it's still,
Reddit.
yeah.
So Reddit.
Yeah, same.
I am
Reddit.
Oh, that's
actually
the one.
sad because see the talent that Nigeria is missing.
I mean,
Just
bring
look
her
at-
back. All right,
so yeah,
you
from Meta to Reddit,
so
but
I
then
moved from Meta. Okay, no.
Yeah.
I remember then they were cutting
so
down.
Meta was
royalties
laying off,
and
and
all
so
that.
this is one of those
So
things
they
that
don't
also
reach me.
yeah. So Meta was laying off, so they did 2 layoffs, and I was worried that it would happen again. So my team got halved.
Damn.
So
Let's
let's
say
say
half. That means your work go.
so your work goes up as well.
And
But
your
that also
money-
means you are
your money-
again. So they don't pay any extra for that. You don't get any extra pay for that. So I was doing well. That first year
Am I
was
light?
amazing. My time with Meta was fantastic, but I was always worried, and I didn't like that you could get fired by email. You just wake up one day and there's an email. Bye bye.
So you don't even know.
Your manager doesn't know. Your director doesn't know. No one has.
So
a
how
clue.
long had already been disturbing you?
So a recruiter had reached out to me a couple of times, being like, hey, we see what's happening at Meta. So he reached out to me a bunch of times, I think 3 times. And then I interviewed, and then they were like, the team is really excited to join, have you, da 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 da. They're like, I was like, guys, this is cool and all, but like, I'm doing well at Meta. My bonus is this much.
Are you going to match it?
They're like, don't worry, we'll match. I was like, okay. And they were like, yeah, so we'll match it. So we'll give you this much of an offer. Da, 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 da. So again, when you're worried about those kind of things, to my point, when like you're up against the wall, you start looking at any exit. Now, in hindsight, I would not have gone.
Really?
But, yeah, in hindsight, I would not have moved. But at the time, I felt, okay, if Meta is going to treat people as disposable, and there's other team that's willing to almost like
Treat you well.
treat you well and also like break barriers. And that's why I say in hindsight, I would have done that, because typically when people do those kind of things, they revert back to their usual, which is they too treat everybody like you're just another.
Yeah.
So they can do whatever they need to do to bring you in the door, but once you're in the door, they can treat you anyhow they want. So I now joined Reddit, and the worry I was worrying about at Meta being laid off, I got laid off at Reddit. And again, because again, the newer you are, the easier you are to lay off. So I already again escaped the 2 layoffs at Meta. So again, in hindsight, I'll probably just have stayed. Because
But
let
do
me
you
run
think
my
you
risk.
have laid off?
But I could have again. There's no way to
Because
know.
it's very volatile.
Either way. So again, that's why it's like again hindsight. But that's only because something has happened. I know the one path.
So how long were you Reddit?
So Reddit, I was there for I want to say 5 months. I got laid off. So that
Don't worry, guys, he
yeah.
lands on his
So
feet.
anyways, so then I took time off, traveled, went to Hawaii a little bit, just like
Yeah,
I've been at this point from my MBA since 2018. I didn't really take in
don't do that,
vacation.
yeah.
It was just like I'll do a quick trip here 1 week. It's like before I found out, actually let's relax. And then I got sick. And then after that, I came back. I got another job now, and so those ones are also pretty flexible, remote, a little more calm. And I also made sure to check that I don't want the stress of worrying about getting laid off, whatever.
Yeah.
And my team is fantastic now. Like again, I'm leading all of mobile apps, which is what I'm really strong at, right? Well, not all, but a big chunk of mobile apps with my director. They have also now created some space for me as well. Like I don't have a peer that's a product manager senior, so my peers are like group, which is like a level above me, and another principal, and also like the team also is trying to now grow me into like principal. Because I don't want to manage people, really.
Plus, yeah, you just wanna do your work.
I don't want to do my work and then suggest things and be an industry expert. That's kind of where I want to be. So
That's nice.
so that's kind of all that. And now I'm in Nigeria again. I can work
What
remote
a
from
story.
here.
What do you
Why
plan?
is the internet-
So obviously you're going to lecture. You're going to retire and lecture
Yeah, that's my
pretty
retirement
soon.
plan for sure.
Pretty
That's
soon.
my retirement plan. I would lecture because I think there's a lot
Go,
to share.
Ted. Have you met? Have you?
Lecturing job here in Nigeria?
I'm going to
A
be
job
his
in
big man.
Nigeria?
Have you met
Lecturing job here in
Ted?
Nigeria.
It depends. Maybe Lagos Business School.
But how far?
Maybe.
I've introduced you to that people.
Did you?
I wanted to bring.
No, this is not trying to sell me
No,
up.
ask Chinwe.
Please get out.
Please, I want to
I'm
ask,
praying
how
about
is
asking
the
me.
how is the internet here? Is it?
like
Manageable.
using it.
Yes.
It's fine. I think there's some lag if you are
Understood.
using like real time things.
Okay.
It's generally okay if you are doing like videos
Yes,
as well.
yes.
But there's like some upload challenges that are a little slow. I've ordered the Starlink, so I'm gonna see what that is. But I use MTN 5G right now. That seems to be okay for my needs. But I would love for it to be much faster because there's a lot more things I would be able to accomplish if it was faster.
Well, we're supposed to talk about how easy it is for people to set up businesses in Canada, and if it's advisable. You were saying earlier that
Yeah.
that's probably the best thing. But what will you say?
Yeah. So you can set up businesses for sure. Like it's not impossible. It's not very very hard.
What business will you say will thrive now? Just
Oh.
as a freebie.
I don't even know, like, because Canada is going through it right now. So a lot of
What
things.
needs and be met?
So the ones that let me take to industry, not even just starting businesses.
Okay.
So the industries in Canada make a lot of money is real estate because Canada's real estate jumps just ridiculously high. But now it's starting to plateau because of interest rates, and but interest rates are going to drop, so it's going to go the other way again. So real estate is really really good. Technology is also really good because again scale. Nursing and healthcare because they have to pay, but again the problem is Canada going to go the private route for healthcare, or are they going to stay public? Because the public challenge is they don't imbibe a lot of doctors and nurses from a lot of places, and so it keeps their salaries high.
Yeah.
So doctors by themselves are essentially corporations out there.
Yeah.
So that can be a way. If you can get in as a doctor in Canada, you can really. So those are the industries to target. But there's some others that are starting to pop up as well. Things around e-commerce. It's not directly tech, but things to sell online, because a lot of people no longer want the in-person experience. Just send it to my house. Right? For me, I send my food to my house. I don't talk to me like I'm not going to the grocery store. It's too expensive. Send it to my house. As long as you get it at a decent premium, you can probably make enough. Subscription boxes are another thing too.
Sorry,
So-
to
yeah,
cut you.
yeah.
I think that e-commerce generally is really a big thing now.
Yes.
So I was speaking to a friend. His company, what they do is they deliver in wholesale too. So they don't do it's B2B. They don't do
Single person.
yeah, single person. So they sell.
Wholesale.
They deliver to even malams, like kiosks.
Yep.
They will deliver to you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so-
But they're mostly based in I think Ibadan, Imo, and this. They don't have a space in Lagos, and it's really doing. They're really doing well.
Yeah. So those are the things. Like, I mean, there's an opportunity, but you usually want to start out as a sole proprietor just to test it out to see if your model makes sense. And if it does, then you make it a corporation once it hits like 30K in revenue regularly, because then you start minimizing your taxes and things like that. But again, you also want to be careful. You want to be careful because you don't want to overstructure your business where it isn't making any money, and then you are doing so much compliance to make it tax advantaged, and it's not even useful. So you want to wait until you have this escape velocity in terms of money, and then you put structure around it.
That makes sense. I've really enjoyed the episode, Tolu. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I do my best.
To all our listeners, sponsored by Japachronicles. We specialize in helping students go abroad with one of our brands, Ilewe Education. And with Japa, we help you with different immigration needs, like go to Canada, plan your holidays, work opportunities, and things like that. It's really exciting. And if you guys want to hear from Tolu, you can book a consultation. $150 period.
What's $150?
I mean,
This knowledge.
Yeah, 15 minutes. $150.
yeah.
No.
So,
All right, so let's go straight into the news, Isaac, so we can wrap up.
Yeah, immigration news. For starters, UK universities are
Please, let's stop talking
experiencing.
about these guys.
They have been experiencing it.
No,
They never see anything. They
so
go feel it.
right now, one in three universities in the UK are facing financial
They will
difficulties.
feel
You know, go feel
it.
up.
They go feel them.
But do you guys actually think that this will make them ease in their
Nope.
I
They have
don't
a lot of
care.
money. They made a lot of money
I
for
don't
now.
care. They've already made their
They made a lot
policy.
of money
The
for
policy is
now.
working
It'll
for
change it a
them.
bit. Look, they made a lot of money.
I feel like with the new party though, I think like something will change.
No, it won't change
something
for
will
now.
change, but
I
it
don't
won't
think-
be in immigration
Trust me.
direction.
No,
No, yes,
that's not his
exactly.
focus now.
Yeah.
Actually, I know his focus is not now. He's bringing. He wants more investment. He's not enjoying that right now. What else?
Yeah, New Zealand they're expanding work rights for dependents. So
Who they go New Zealand? As much as I love everything about New Zealand, the fact that I have to travel for a day and a half every time for me. But again, you know, say someone say me now, I don't reach where I
Honestly, I want to
reach.
the
But
Middle East and Asia, so I want to actually go and see all of them because I feel like there's untapped markets there.
I mean, we talked about these group trips that we need to organize, but yeah,
I'm gonna see it.
we-
Like all them
we need
Singapore,
to-
all those.
I won't go watch
I want
football
to see it.
first. Dude, I don't tell you. Now,
When you went to this, did you watch any game?
I didn't. I got there late. Napoli, Madrid. I still can't understand. Why you a hater? But I didn't miss it because the two guys I wanted to see were injured in both teams, something like that.
Osimhen and-
Osimhen and Vinicius. I can't remember something. The match was sharp, but it was 1-1 now. So my hostel mates were now telling me the gist on because they were Napoli guys. They came from Italy, so yeah.
All right, any other
So
But
if
we
you
go do
are
that
interested in going to New Zealand, you can
Yeah,
go
reach
with
out
an
to us.
defender.
And yeah, even if for
Come
BSc,
follow our Spain group. We dey go Spain,
Who is talking
Portugal,
about?
Egypt.
Please, if you are interested in going to New Zealand,
One of those countries that have very strong
Passports.
yeah. So
By the way, we dey sell PR. We dey sell second passport now. Barbados, Saint Kitts,
I
Antigua.
think that's the hack
Oh,
because
it's expensive.
Trinidad.
naturally,
$500,000
Naturally.
investment, $350,000.
because again, you just spend time in all these countries like Canada, or whatever, or you
Yeah,
just
or
pay
you
the money.
just-
So
pay the money,
exactly.
yeah.
So-
Personally, just
Trinidad.
invest it. Personally, but yeah. I have enough.
I
I've
mean,
said
But
it.
I think
They're the
Canada
benefits.
does that PR by investment as well.
they
For
do
startup.
especially in Quebec. That was
Who
that was.
won't
the
go
thing. But
Quebec?
that's why now because no
But
one
they
wants to
speak
go, so you have
English
to.
Why French?
They barely speak English.
No,
It's more
because if you set up a
French.
business in Quebec, then they give you PR,
give
and then
you-
you can leave Quebec.
Oh, you can't leave.
Because PR is not dependent on where
Yeah,
you
yeah,
are.
yeah.
We dey run am. I get one customer where they run
what
that
we
one for now, but
We know these things. It's just
because by
again,
the time I
awareness.
tell madam, say madam sapasi, lili
You know
What
that
are you
you know what you're doing is
Hey, thank you guys. Is that all your news?
No, the
Oh,
final
South
one.
Korea,
what
South
else?
Korea,
Time,
South
time.
Korea.
I want go chop.
South
Korea.
Korea's
My
And you
guys.
said it before now.
300K.
yeah, but like so what they're saying now is they are hitting their targets faster than they expected because
What
the
were they
Big Four-
expecting when the Canada and
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
now. So
yeah.
because the big four
I like to
doing
go
their
to
thing.
see you. I've heard their waves. We go all these places. By God's grace.
Anyways,
Thank you guys for listening today. Thank you, Tolu, for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mom Z. Thank you, Big Head
thank you,
Writer.
Medici.
KOJ out.
Bye.